What's up, everyone? Adam Gellman here. This is the most exciting time of year. It's Wrestlemania season. We are about to embark on the 2023 card year with the first release in 2023 WWE Prizm Part 2, the sequel to the initial launch of the Prizm brand, the WWE brand on behalf of Panini. We are taping this on WrestleMania Sunday, so we still have yet to find out what's going to happen there. But we did just get word WWE has been sold to Endeavor, which is UFC's parent company. So kind of in the whole thing about combat sports running together. Now we've got UFC and WWE running together. Ryan, what do you think about all this?
It's definitely an interesting wrinkle because we're gonna see the license move from Panini here in a couple of years as well. But Panini also has the UFC license. So now what's going to happen there? Are you going to diverge? Is Panini possibly going to be sold to Fanatics or purchased by Fanatics? Is it going to become one conglomerate? We don't know. That's the thing that's crazy about all this. So I think it'd be really interesting to see in 3 years if you have WWE with Fanatics and UFC with Panini, and then you've got the company that owns them both. The differences in the products.
There's so much, yeah.
It's insane what's going to happen, but definitely starting off 2023 with Prizm again, just like 2022. So Armageddon 2023 has officially commenced.
Right, yeah. Now everything explodes. This was probably the spark that lit the match on the community side. Lots of differing reactions. Either people loved it, they hated it. Very few in between. There's still battles going on to this day. But, I can't say that this isn't one of my favorite times of year because we get to start the new card year. Prizm is one of my favorite sets now. I think it's become a hobby standard across NFL, NBA, NASCAR, UFC, and all the licenses that Panini will own until Fanatics takes those back. But, listen, I think 2022 was a really unique situation. You had a brand new launch. You had a brand new brand of cards to bring to the table in WWE, split the community around, hey, I liked it the way that it was. I don't want these new people coming in, to another group of people who have had that hobby experience. We're like, no, this is awesome. Finally, wrestling gets its time in the sun. So I'm very excited about this. I think we're going to get, a lot of fun this year, but, we'll see how it goes with Prizm. I think we're still kind of in the middle there.
Yeah, definitely. This Prizm set, looking over the checklist, this is a Prizm set. I know that's like Mr. Obvious, I get it, but when you have seen these sets over and over again in the sports world, they don't really differ too much from year to year. It's pretty much your standard set, your standard parallels, your standard inserts, your standard autographs, and that's what we're going to see here with 2023. There's a couple new wrinkles, but if you like 2022, you're going to like 2023. And I think that there's been some improvements. There's some gripes, definitely. I definitely got some gripes, definitely. But it's definitely a great way to start off the wrestling card year. And I'm excited because Panini, I want to see what Panini is going to bring. They're going to have to go big for the next 2 years. And
they have to. There's no way around it. It has to be big. You can't go backwards. You have to go forwards.
It has to. And on the other flip side, if you're talking about UFC, are they going to go big with UFC too? Because I can't, going back to my previous statement, I can't see the parent company having both licenses and then farming them out to different companies. I can't see it. It's going to be all in-house, all one thing. My personal opinion. I may be wrong. I probably am, to be honest with you. But that's the way I see it. So it's a nice set. Looked over the checklist. I got some gripes. I got some stuff that's pretty cool. So, but I definitely think that Panini is gonna show out this year. They've already upped the ante with Revolution and Kabooms, and now we're in full swing because I think this comes out next week, first off the line.
Yep. First off the line should be shipping. Yeah. I would guess tomorrow. Like I said, we're taping this Sunday Wrestlemania, so I assume this goes. The first group of this will go out tomorrow with first off the line. Listen, I think this is really the first taste of kind of what the autographs are going to look like for the year. Panini usually doesn't insert brand new people mid-year. There were a few, like we saw some of the ECW faithful come in at the last moment with Immaculate, but I think we're starting to see okay, this is what's going to drive a lot of the product. We're seeing the beginnings of a new rookie class. We're seeing some new signatures. We're seeing some off the wall signatures. We'll talk about those too, but I think overall, like, this sets the tone for the year. And I think there are things to like, definitely. I think there are things to love. I also think there's a lot of stuff here that I think could have been done a lot better.
I agree, 100%.
That's
So
the
you
way it
want to get
always is, though. Yeah, I think that's the way it
Let's do
always
it.
is. So let's start with the base set. I think we've got pretty much everybody that means something that wasn't either an active participant in Raw or SmackDown or NXT, plus some really nice legends that have been added. But overall, like, I think adding people like, I don't think Jerry Lawler had a card last year, did he?
I don't believe so. No.
Piper, we got your guy Macho Man's finally getting his card. Gable Stevenson's back again. But they've got some new people like Solruka, and I think that's how you say her name, Scott Steiner, who just re-signed a WWE Legends deal thanks to his nephew. So I think like we're starting to see kind of like these legends that were missed the first time around. Like they definitely needed to save something for the sequel. I think they've done that. The Rock's daughter has a card on the base set this year, Ava Rain. So I'm just like looking through this. Like there's some really awesome sort of names that have been added. Plus you've got Roxanne Perez's first Prizm card. You've got Cody Rhodes's first Prizm card. Bray Wyatt. I see Razor Ramon on here. I don't think did he have a card last year? I know he had some in Impeccable, but I don't think he had a Prizm card.
I don't think he had a Prizm, no.
No, but I mean, like Maxine Dupree is on here. She's been kind of fun. Tatum Paxley, Ariana Grace. Like, there's a lot of people from the NXT ranks that are being added here. But we get some first signatures, which we'll get to here in a second. We got some updated gimmicks with the Io Sky instead of Io Shirai and stuff like that. So overall, I think the base set probably the biggest upgrade because we're getting some of those misses. But I think it's one that we need this type of stuff every year because you have people like Braun Strowman who come back. You have Bray Wyatt who comes back. You have Cody Rhodes who returns in a big way, potentially going to win the title tonight. Like, those are going to be the biggest sort of draws in this set, along with Roxanne Perez and Nikita Lyons and Solruka and all those guys. So I'm curious, like, outside of Macho Man, which I know you're very excited about, like, there's no Brutus Beefcake, which I know is your other guy. But,
Yeah.
I hope that we get some sort of balance here between the legends and the legends we all want, Austin and Rock and Undertaker and stuff, with some of the legends that they missed the first time around.
Well, I think as long as they're adding and moving, like rotating stock, I guess is the best way I could put it. As long as they're rotating stock, and they can take out probably 50 names from last year's set because the set's the same. It's 200 cards.
Right.
So I believe last year's set was 200 cards. So obviously, if you've got new names in there, you got to take some people out. I'm okay with that. I'm perfectly fine. You have to have the staples. Why Macho Man wasn't in 2022 is beyond me. We've discussed it ad nauseum on other videos. There must be some kind of weird licensing thing going on with his name or his estate because why wouldn't you have him in every single set, in every single insert
Absolutely.
set? He's
Absolutely.
super popular. He sells really well, and his cards are super, super valuable. And so there's definitely something weird going on. Like I said, with the licensing of the estate, we did get him at the end of the year in some products, which is great. And I'm happy that he's in Prizm this year, which is great. Unfortunately for me, and I'm just speaking for me as a collector, the only card I'm going to go after is the gold at a 10. That's the only card. That's literally.
I think we're kind of like at a point now where it's like, okay, now this isn't the debut, but you got guys like Rousey who are going to come in. Maybe that was a year too late, right? So you've got some guys that are coming in a little bit late. You've got some guys coming in that have been waiting for, like Macho Man, still no Ric Flair, stuff like that, which drive a lot of value in this hobby. Hulk Hogan's here, Austin's here. Like, we got a lot of that, but there's going to be a lot of comparisons, right? Everybody who hates Prizm is going to want to put this up on the screen and say, look, it's never going to be as valuable. This isn't as valuable as it was last year. You guys are all idiots, whatever. But that's not the way that the second year works. They're trying to build. So, like, the second Prizm of Stone Cold Steve Austin is not going to be as valuable as the debut. People are more going to gravitate towards the legacy parallels, like you said, like the golds, right?
Right. So, I mean, I've streamlined my Macho Man collection down considerably, and I know you and I've talked about this privately. There's just too much. There's too much and because I do non-sports also, I do sports as well. I mean, I kind of do everything, and I really have to streamline everything
It's
of what I'm
hard. It's
doing.
hard to keep
Yeah,
up. Yeah.
you can't do like I wish I had the patience and the concentration of you where it's just like just Becky Lynch. That's it. That's all I want. And then that way you can divert 100% of your money towards Becky Lynch. I can't do that
Right.
because I got my fingers in different pies all over the place. I mean, I
Yeah.
got
And you still
my
are doing sports stuff. You're still doing non-sports
right,
stuff. So you've got a
and
little
it's
bit
just
more to spread. Yeah.
right. So I've really cut down to Macho Man stuff numbered to like 10, not even 5. I just want stuff numbered out of 10. And the way I look at it is I've done that because now I feel like I have a shot at getting one of those cards. There's
Right.
10 of them out there. After Jamie Wallace outbids me for the first one, I'll be
Shout
able
out
to
to
get the
Jamie.
second one,
Yeah.
So that's the only card I'm after. I'm really kind of bummed that Bruce Beefcake is not in this set because I probably would have attempted that rainbow. I definitely would have made a run for that. Hopefully he makes it in the 2024 set. He's still showing up in Panini products, so
Right.
there's
And you
always
got the
hope.
select rainbow, so the autograph rainbow
I
there.
do have
So
the select autograph rainbow, which was awesome, and so I've got that working for me. But I'm always happy if they can move names around on the checklist and get because nobody wants the same 200 names 3 years in a
right.
row.
Yeah, I mean, like, because unlike the NFL, unlike the NBA, WWE doesn't really have this debuting crop of rookies that is impactful every
Right.
single year. Because that drives a Prizm product, that drives the entirety of the product line calendar for Panini the entire year. So we've got new guys. We've got like I mentioned before, we've got Roxanne Perez who hasn't had a Prizm card before. We're not sure if it's going to be RC or not. We hope not. I don't think it should be, but we never
Nope,
know because
should not be.
WWE doesn't really have a season. But it's like, how do you bring new fun stuff for collectors every single year if you're not going to have that rookie class to be able to base it off of, right?
Well, I think so. Here's an example from UFC. So UFC has the UFC Instant program, which after every pay per view or every meaningful fight night, they release a print to order set detailing what happened. It's the same thing with WWE. They do the same thing.
Right.
But in 2021, when Paddy Pimblett first hit the scene for the
I remember
UFC,
that. Yeah.
yeah, they made a card of him. They made a card of him in the UFC Instant. It's a 2021 UFC Instant. It's the red border set. It's the very first set. They have an RC logo on that card. That's a 2021 card.
Mm-hmm.
He had the rookie logo on every single 2022 card. So there has to be a delineation. You can't make Roxanne Perez a rookie for 4 years. It doesn't work like that. And if you want people from the outside to come in and take notice because rookies drive so much of the market, you have to basically pick at the beginning of the year, okay, these are our rookies. We have A, B, C, D, and E. These 5 people are our rookies, right? So then they debut.
I think they did that last year. They did that.
No, they did.
That last.
But what I'm saying is then you're going to have people coming up and then they get a card. Let's say they just get a card at the end of the year in Immaculate. That's a rookie card. That's their rookie card in 2023 Immaculate. That's the only card they have. It should just be that way. That should just be the way it is. It shouldn't, you shouldn't now dive into the first 4 sets of 2024 and give this person a rookie card in that set. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I think, it's a
I agree there. Yeah, I agree there. And it's tough, right? Because you have, one of the major sort of sticking points of this era of wrestling is like people moving between WWE and crops like AEW or GCW, wherever. And so you have people that are debuting in NXT. You have people debuting on the main roster like Cody did at WrestleMania last year. So next year, potentially MJF, right? There's a lot of speculation there. There's speculation around Kenny Omega, like all these people that could potentially be huge names coming to WWE. And Cody isn't a rookie though. Like he's not he's had cards before. So there's no rookie logo. We already know that there's no rookie logo on his card. But Kenny Omega has only had Upper Deck cards. So does Panini, how does that work? Like there's a lot of questions here. We believe not a rookie. He's had other cards. Just because it wasn't with your product doesn't mean it's not a rookie. Like all those other things. There's questions that exist there. But I think for Roxanne Perez, Nikita Lyons, who had cards in Select, cards in Chronicles, cards in all over the place, that's it. Now, if there's a guy who comes in or gal who comes in just Immaculate, like you want to burn them, you burn them in Immaculate. That's the rookie. Collectors are anal retentive like that. They have specific rules that drive so much of this. And I think we have to sort of accommodate a lot of that because it drives, like you said, a lot of those people coming in, they want to have expectations, which I think drive a huge amount of what happens in this hobby is like collector expectations and managing those is just a major part of how companies design products, right?
Well, it's almost like the Tom Brady effect. Now, when Tom Brady was a rookie in 2000, he was a 6th-round pick. All of his rookie cards, there are very few rookie cards where he is actually in a Patriots, like in a game picture uniform.
He wasn't part of the premiere, so yeah.
Right. And even the Bowman's photoshopped. So if you want a Tom Brady rookie, I think the contenders might be photoshopped too. But obviously there's like 1% of the world that can afford that card right now. But I'm talking about just like you want like the cheap like Dominion Brady. He's in a Michigan uniform or he's in a red practice jersey.
Mystique, clear Mystique,
And that was just a byproduct of not being on the radar in 2000. Now, what would happen if at the end of this year, some hot new prospect, somebody we've never seen comes up real quick and they stick him or her in Immaculate as a rookie card numbered out of 99, and that's their only card. That card's going to go bonkers. Yeah. And it's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing at all. It's not.
No, you want to create
scarcity is a good thing sometimes.
Yes, you want to create that buzz. You want to build that demand. And you've got to keep the products fresh because I think it get like you've said a number of times with UFC, it feels like just a rehash over and over and over again. It's like Madden rosters, right? You buy the game every year expecting like some amazing new feature. It's literally just new players on the field.
Same fucking game.
Yeah, it's the same fucking game. So like I think they've got to find a way to keep it fresh. Now the way WWE usually keeps talent fresh is giving them new gimmicks, moving them across the rosters, putting them into major angles or feuds to get them new titles, whatever. How do you reflect that in those sets is going to drive what collectors want. Like Sami Zayn as part of the bloodline versus Sami Zayn, the great manipulator as previous gimmick. Like those types of things like drive some demand. But you have people like, because wrestling is historically built in modern collecting around the women, Roxanne Perez, Nikita Lyons, the Thirsty Boys are going to want a lot of those cards. So that's going to drive some demand too. Then you have Cody Rhodes, who has had just a meteoric run since he debuted last year, including a major injury, now a Royal Rumble win, potentially a title win tonight. Like, then it's just a matter of like mixing and matching veterans that maybe you didn't have licensing before. Like, we still don't have a Sable card. We still don't have like Ric Flair. We still don't have Vince McMahon, even though he's now the executive chairman of this new conglomerate that's under Endeavor.
Right.
Like, how do you manage those types of things to keep collectors interested in the product?
I would even suggest that Panini do something like a Prizm debut on the card instead of the rookie logo. Just for this,
I like that.
Just on Cody's Prizm card, Prizm debut.
I like that.
And then that way, it's not a rookie card, but
it's still special.
It's going to differentiate itself from the next couple of years of Prizm cards. So
now, I want to go into that because it's a really interesting concept, right? People, and now over the last 6 months, the cards have dropped by hundreds of percents, right? But their original Prizm debuts of guys like Tom Brady, the guys that didn't have a rookie card in Prizm because they were rookies before 2012, like those cards had enormous value just because they were the first Prizm cards. I think we're going to see some of that transfer over, probably not as much for wrestling because there's just not a lot of hobby context that sort of goes around here. We've seen how people reacted to like, oh, well, the gold shimmer didn't sell for as much as we thought. It's not 50K. Well, it's the gold shimmer.
The shimmers.
I'm not getting into it, but there's not.
I'm going to get into it. Give me 10 seconds. Anybody who knows sports knows the shimmers don't sell for a fraction of what the base colors sell for. That's across Bowman baseball. That's in football. That's in everything. Everywhere.
Yeah. So it's not the same card.
Right. They're not the same card. Just saying. That's it.
Yeah. But like that context doesn't exist as much because a lot of the people who came in and we expected they were going to stick around because you're having this new brand debut. Like a lot of those people went back out. Some stayed. Like there were a considerable voices in the hobby now that were part of that migration in. Like that context still isn't universal. It's still not widespread where people are like, okay, this is something that I need to collect. But if you keep it interesting like they are doing with undercard, you look at the undercard, it's basically the no huddle configuration. They have one variation that's going to be per box. The variation checklist for this is nothing short of a home run. You've got the Shockmaster, which I am going to hunt the hell out of that card. Lucas Kinzer, who is the brand manager of Panini for WWE and UFC. I tweeted out that the Shockmaster was on the checklist. He responded back. The photo on the card is from that debut. It's gonna be amazing. We've got Hollywood Hulk Hogan for the first time in Prizm. We've got Stunning Steve Austin, Mean Mark Callis. Like, they're going back and doing these alternate gimmicks. I'm sure John Cena will be Thugonomics Cena. You know, we're gonna get
And
Deacon Batista.
that's such a great idea.
It's
That's
so
such a great
awesome.
idea.
Like, as a collector, as a wrestling fan, like, this is what drives me. Stardust has a card. Like that, like that's just
Right.
hilarious. So, like, if you look at the way that they're approaching that, for the first time we're getting cards of these guys in their alternate gimmicks. Like, The Undertaker has never had like a modern recent card as Mean Mark Callis. I'm sure you can go back to some old set from the 90s and probably there one exists for his WCW days, but seeing that in a Prizm card is really cool.
Yep.
But yeah, like that is things that you do that you can tell that people who are building these products have watched the product on TV. They understand. They want to drive collectors to have fun with Prizm, have fun with sets like Select. You know, those types of things happen a lot in this set, and that's why I love it so much. So, you know, I'm excited. We're getting a Rocky Maivia card. Like, they've done those before.
Maybe he's gonna wear that horrible like outfit with the cuts in the front and everything else. And I mean, those cards are gonna be so popular. They're gonna be really popular.
Yeah.
So it was a great move.
I think, like, from a base perspective, so for those who are still kind of getting out of the Prizm bandwagon or have fallen off of it, like, base is what drives Prizm, right? Historically, in the NBA and NFL and other sports, people collect the base cards. They don't collect the autographs as much because, like, there's a lot of reasons why the product was expensive. Autographs were expensive, so people started, like, creating their own chases. That's why the golds have always been those legacy standards. But what we saw in Prizm was something a little bit different, was a lot of the autographs were driving major value, as well as things like the color blast and some of the inserts. So sadly, we're still seeing, from the base perspective, we didn't get gold vinyl. I know you wanted to talk about that. That was one humongous miss. We're still not seeing any sort of pattern stock for a retail set. I know that was another thing you brought up, where we can add a retail component. We'll talk to that in a second here. And there's still just flat parallels, right? So we're still just getting black. We're just getting, like, you know, gold. There is no sort of real design elements to those. The Prizm structure, the parallel structure, is still very much the same. We didn't get a lot of added stuff, which I was exceptionally disappointed to see. I thought we were going to get much more of what makes Prizm fun. Maybe the black gold stuff, maybe the gold vinyl superfractor-like cards. Give us something. And I don't think we're getting that. We're not getting a black finite. We're just getting a black. Like, you know, it's kind of a give and take, right?
Not having the gold vinyl was a huge misstep.
Huge miss.
That's a huge. And for those at home aren't familiar with gold vinyl, that's the superfractor pattern that Topps uses. It's the gold pinwheels.
And they're five. They're numbered to 5 usually. So, like,
yeah, numbered to 5. Probably the most popular design of a card ever.
I mean, it's across every
spectrum of everything.
Yeah. Top started it, and everybody else stole it. But it's something that drives humongous value in this hobby because they look cool. Like, I collect superfractors. I have 6 of them, and they're my most prized possessions, right? So, like, you know, it's just one of those things that, yeah, exactly. There you go. Like, they look gorgeous in hand. And to not have that for a second year is really disappointing. To not have the ability to add some of those parallels, maybe like a tiger stripe we saw in Select. Like, I know they want to compartmentalize things because the audience isn't as big, but there's got to be something here that you added on. I didn't see that. They are bringing back lucky envelopes, much to my chagrin. They're bringing back white sparkles. They still have the retail green pulsars. Like, everything else is the same. But there was nothing added of note, and that is so fucking disappointing.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that this is cookie cutter of 2022. It really just kind of switched some names around. It really hasn't added anything to it. Gold vinyls would have been an incredible addition. Expanding the color blast checklist would have been a great addition as well. They didn't do that. So definitely some missteps in this set. I don't want to paint it like it's all rainbows and
Yeah,
gum,
it's
but
not.
it's not. It's not. There's definitely going to be, and like I said, I'm after one card in this set. I'm gonna buy a Macho Man Gold, and I'll be done. I will be totally done. Hopefully the
And
retail
last year,
component is better.
yeah, last year retail was disgusting. It was the
Yeah,
worst.
awful.
It was the worst. The blasters are sitting on the shelf for a reason. There was nothing of value in retail unless you pulled one of the green pulsars, which was impossible to pull. Do not buy those cards. It's going to happen again this year. Don't buy the retail stuff. It sucks. It's awful. It's not like Select where everything was driven through special cards added. That doesn't happen here. But like you said, last year I collected 2 cards short of a full rainbow. Probably not going to do that again this year because it seems like just the same stuff. And they're still kind of rolling with this horizontal and vertical. I think that's kind of played out a little bit as well. Like I would have probably just gone all vertical or like saved some horizontal. Like, you don't need to make 100 of them. Like don't make it a thing.
I don't understand differentiating between horizontal and vertical cards. Like they're putting it out there like it's this big deal, and it's not. It's not like they're short printed, because originally what happened when the UFC in the first year of UFC is people thought that cards 100 were going to be hobby and cards 101 to 200 were going to be retail. That was the word on the street, is that if you wanted a complete set, you had to get them from both. Panini hit a home run with Select by having a retail-only set as part of the set.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. And I read more retail than I did hobby. Like that's how good it was.
And there was a reason for that, because that was done right. What I would have done if this was me designing the set, I would have taken cards 151 to 175, right smack dab in the middle of the base set. So you don't put them on the end, because then people can be like, well, I got the 200 card. You got to put it in the middle because it'll drive set collectors crazy. If you,
I'm sure
if you're opening, but if you're opening packs and you can only do 1 to 150 and then 176 to 200, and you've got this 25 card gap, and make it all,
it drives demand. Yeah, it's a gimmick to drive demand.
Those 25 cards are only in retail, and people will open it. And then you have a couple parallels on top of it that you can only get in retail. Add in another Dragon Feathers or
yes, exactly. They gotta introduce something. It was cookie cutter, and that's was just, it drove me fucking nuts. It's really unfortunate. So that last year's set as a debut was landmark for a number of reasons. I'm not going to get into it. We've made a huge amount of videos. Go look through the playlist. They're all there as to why the hate for Prizm 2022, completely unwarranted in my opinion. But this set, I think there's a lot to nitpick here. Like, let's go into like the color blast specifically. Like, I think the checklist for that, good, right? You got Cody, you've got Hogan, you've got Undertaker, you've got some of these guys, but we still don't have like the people that are known for being colorful. There's also no rookies. Like having a Roxanne Perez color blast would have been a big deal. Nikita Lyons, Tiffany Stratton, whoever you want to do, that would be fun. Make the checklist a little bit bigger. Make them a little bit, you do something with it. And I don't like the color blast design this year is kind of, but we'll get to that in another segment maybe.
How you finally get Macho Man into your Prizm, but don't put him into the color blast set.
Huge miss.
Macho Man. The man was literally a color blast. Like he was.
Or Ultimate Warrior. Yes.
Ultimate Warrior. How do you not get Ultimate Warrior in the set? And you're right.
There's so many colorful people that you could put in here.
Yeah, just tack on 5 or 10 more cards. Throw Nikita Lyons in there. Throw Roxanne Perez in there. Throw Macho Man. Throw Ultimate Warrior. Throw Yokozuna.
Right.
Like, you guys know me. If you've watched these videos or talked to me in person, I'm a big Legends guy. That's my jam. That's where I'm at. How, a Mr. Perfect. I don't know. And maybe Cody it's just Rhodes, selfish, and maybe I'm just screaming.
Yeah, I mean, no, you're right. You're like, there needs to be some thought put into this. I also realize that there needs to be like 2 more years of this probably. So they're probably playing it safe. But like Bray Wyatt Blast, like that'll be fun, but he's not on TV anymore. Like that sucks. Braun Breaker, great for Color Blast. Edge, like he won't sell very well. But Cody Rhodes, Undertaker, Rousey, Hogan, like those guys will sell big, especially Cody Rhodes. I think that's probably one of the top cards in the entire product. Hulk Hogan, probably one of the top cards in the entire product. Roman Reigns is the only one that got the double treatment. So Tribal Chief, rightfully so, gets a second card.
Well,
Just
maybe in 2024, I'll get my Macho Man Color Blast.
I hope so, because that would be so awesome. Like to be able to rip these boxes, open up a pack with an Ultimate Warrior or Macho Man Randy Savage, Color Blast, given their colorful history. Like I think that's just it screams this set. So just in the interest of time, let's switch over to the autographs. I think for this year, I wasn't as excited about it. The design is kind of not my favorite. The top heavy sort of sticker on top. Like the Champions cards last year, as we talked about in our favorite cards video that just premiered with the panel discussion, like the Champions cards were awesome last year. They were so good. Having both those and the sensational signatures with that top heavy flip design, I really don't like it. Adding on to the fact that the checklist for this is just borderline terrible. Like everybody's going to chase Roxanne Perez. I get it. Liv Morgan has some value. Fine. Everybody else, including like Gunther, Braun Breaker, and Bianca Belair, like they should have value. They're just not going to. So then it's like, then there's no one else. It's the Miz, it's the Usos, it's Drew McIntyre. They're $10 autographs. Like they're not going to drive.
I would argue though that if you did that set last year, you're probably happy about this checklist this year, because if you're going to continue doing it, at least you got some new names, and it probably
they're all new. They're all new. Like every single one of them is new.
It won't break your wallet to put it together. So
that's very true. I hate the design. I'm not a fan of the design.
I don't.
However,
I've never liked autographs on top of the cards. I've never liked them.
Yeah, it's
almost like
work.
It's crushing the person.
It looks Tetris-y. It doesn't work. Right. But on the flip side of that, you have this amazing throwback signatures set, which is based on the 2012 design. It will look great. The photos will be incredible. And instead of the champion signatures, which had an amazing checklist last year driving the box sets, this year it's going to be the throwback signatures with a special parallel. I can't say enough good stuff about this particular checklist. You've got Austin, you've got Roman Reigns, you've got Batista, you've got all of these different people that will drive huge value. I think Hogan's on there too.
Yeah,
so I mean, like that's really going to be a great set, and it's going to drive a lot of collector interest too. Because as we said, that 2012 Prizm debut, they've used it in a number of sports now to bring back some value there. Like I think that's going to drive a lot of people who have that crossover experience. They're going to want those cards. But like the bigger names, like that we saw for like the iconic rivals last year, we're getting some new ones here that are great. But it doesn't feel as cool as it did last year. Like no. I love Undertaker Mankind. I love seeing Trish Stratus and Lita getting some treatment there. Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, awesome. AJ Styles, John Cena, like that's probably a feud a lot of people probably haven't had much experience with. That happened right after AJ Styles sort of came over. Tommaso Ciampa and Gargano, awesome editing feuds, but it's not going to have much value. Kane and X-Pac as their tag team, really popular in 98, 99, 2000 era. I don't know. Like it's just not going to have as much value.
And I think that if you look at these checklists, this is where you see the absence of The Rock.
Yeah,
I think this is really. I mean, a Rock Mankind, Rock Austin. I mean, there's just not having The Rock is such a big omission that it's really starting to get felt. I think in the sets. So
especially as we get more and more high end, it's going to feel more and more absent. But you've got fun guys like Eric Bischoff has a signature here. Like, I saw some of the old guys like Al Snow and Stevie Richards and stuff like that. Like, those are fan favorite, like, guys that are weird. Juven Guerrera, like, hasn't had, like, I can't believe he's still wrestling. First of all, he's just on AEW, but, like he has an autograph in this. So, like, they are trying to find fun people. Typhoon has an autograph. He has a Shockmaster card, too. I think that like Corey Bastion does a really good job with his customs. He's probably giving them some ideas because he chases down all of these like unsung heroes. But I think like when you look at the Legends checklist for last year versus this year, like, it doesn't feel as big. And I think that's the Prizm sort of fall off we see in the NBA, we see that in the NFL, which is why they've
Sure.
become so dependent on the rookies, right? The rookies drive the value in every product. Here,
Right.
they will too. Roxanne Perez, Tiffany Stratton, Nikita Lyons all have their first autographs here. Like, those are going to be huge cards. Like, Roxanne Perez's first autograph is going to be a big card. Nikita Lyons going to be a big card. They're not going to be like $10,000 cards like they were last year, right? So you're not going to have The Rock and Austin driving these humongous prices. Like, you throw a Rock Gold up even now, like a true Rock Gold, PSA 10, that's still a $25,000, $30,000 card. I don't see that at any point in anything in this entire set. And
No,
that's
and
just
it never does.
it won't. It's fine.
No, as more sets get released, the second, third, fourth, fifth iteration, it never hits the highs that the first one did. But as we've discussed before on previous videos, the Prizm WWE set from last year was a victim of timing.
Yes.
Had that set come out in 2021, we'd be talking about $2,000.
We'd still be talking about talking about how awesome it was.
What happened is the fervor of the excitement of the hobby took hold of that, and then the market just crashed. It just crashed. Yeah. Nothing you can do about it. That's what happened.
And like, so, you have guys that can drive some of that value, but like, everybody wants to see Tatum Paxley, Thea Hale, like those new NXT women, like having autographs here is a big deal. Ava Raine, who is The Rock's daughter. Funny that they can't get The Rock, but they can get his daughter. Like, those guys will drive some value, but we're not talking about the same amount of value. Like a Rock Black 1/1 from last year, I mean, allegedly selling in the high 5 figures, low 6 figures, if you believe some of the hype out there. But like, that's not going to happen this year. And everybody's going to point to that and see, look, see, that's not the way it works. Like, the second year,
different product.
It's a completely different experience. So I think people need to have lower expectations on the secondary market value, but there's still a lot of reasons to buy these singles. Like, I think, as we've seen with almost every Panini product, like, the singles market drives a ton of fun for collectors. If you're patient, if you pick your spots, if you go at this the way that we expect it to go, like, there are cards in here I absolutely want. Cards that are not Becky Lynch. And like, kudos to Panini to find those for somebody like me who only collects one person, laser focused. Kudos in that respect. But there's a lot left to be desired. And I don't think they have enough time to slow roll this. Like, I just don't. We know it's going back to Fanatics.
It should have been balls to the wall. It should have been. Hopefully,
I agree.
And hey, if anybody wants any opinions, just look at our videos. We give plenty of them, and I think that some of them are pretty damn good as far as how you could, make these products a little bit better. But 2023 Prizm is a nice product. Definitely missed on some spots there, but the price point too, it's going to be like $250 a box, $250-$300 a box.
But
it might even get $100.
There's going to be some run up, so it'll start maybe at $250, go up to maybe $350, but it'll come back down. That's expected. That's the way it works. I don't think anything here is going to happen the same way that it did in 2022. There's no possible way that happens. Not just because of what happened with the wax price, but because it's just the way it works. So I think final thoughts here on the checklist. If I give it a star grade, the way wrestling fans sort of look at this, I think it's a solid 3 stars. Like, I think last year was probably 4.5. Like, just from my own personal perspective, just because it's debut, because we had so much fun with it, designs were great. I think it's a solid 3 stars. Like, it's middle of the road.
Yeah,
it's a TV match. It's a Raw match.
Right. If you liked Prizm last year, you'll like this set. There's enough new additions with some of the autographs to keep people interested in the product. But it'll be forgotten quickly once the next couple of products come out. It's not going to hang on like last year's did. So yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's nice. It'll be fun. It'll be a fun rip, and there'll be some nice cards coming out, but it's not going to be this. It's not a game changer.
Yeah,
is my opinion.
Not like last year. Now, hopefully, like, again, we saw Select last year, probably one of my favorite products ever made for WWE. We saw, much more go into Impeccable with the on card. immaculate with all the relics. Like there was a signature for every sort of like product that was released. Prizm was the first, and the first is always valuable in card collecting. The second, not as much. An 87 Jordan sells for a tiny fraction of the 86. Like it's just the way it works. But I still think there's some really fun shit here. Like I'm gonna have a good time. I bought into first off the line. I bought 3 boxes at 312 or 5 boxes at 312. So I'm into this for the first time. Last year was completely out of my price range for buying wax, especially collecting only one person. So I bought some wax this time because it's cheaper, it's more fun, right? But I just don't think it's going to be the game-changing set that it was last year.
Well, I'm after one card.
Have fun chasing it.
Maybe the Mojo out of 25. That's my 2 cards. So it'll be easy for me. So
I think like a Macho Man Mojo is pretty cool, but
it'll be
anyways,
cool. Depends on the picture.
Yeah. But yeah, I think there's a lot of growth still to be had. There's just not a lot of time. Like they've got maybe 2 years of this left. Right. We haven't confirmed if it's 25 or 26 that's going back to Fanatics, but you don't have much time to like slow roll this. We got to put balls to the wall, like you said. I'm in agreement there. So that's my opinion. I think we're both on the same page there. I don't think that there's any disagreement here. I heard the Card Foundation guys talking about it. They kind of feel the same way. I think across the hobby, like second years are never as good as they just never are. So we just have to set those expectations.
How about we just enjoy cards for cards?
Yeah. No, listen, like I said, if you're a singles buyer in the Panini's market, like this is your Graceland. Like last year, singles buying was the best year I had across any of my hobby years. And I've been doing this since I was a kid, and I'm 40 now. So like, I'm 40, I'm a man, but like, like the thing is like, there's so much fun to be had in this, even though the whole product it doesn't stand up the way that the debut did. There's still a ton of things to chase. So for most people, at least.
No, I agree.
All right. So tell them where they can find you, Ryan. And we can sign off here, and then we'll be back with a couple of videos as we lead up into the beginning of the card year as we start with Prizm 2023.
Yep, you can find me on Instagram at Non-Sport Showcase. It's just a show-off account for my wrestling and non-sports and some sport.
And you got some stuff. You got some cool stuff.
Yeah, whatever I feel like throwing out there, go ahead and send me or follow me or send me a request or whatever it is. So, Non-Sport Showcase on Instagram.
And I am Gellman. You can find me at WWE Gellman, the home of my Becky Lynch Super Collection, or on Twitter at SC Uncensored. We're going to have a lot more, so like and subscribe. Be sure to engage with us on Twitter or on Instagram. Like, we're always here. Like, we're doing this because we're passionate about the hobby, and we love teaching about the ways that sort of we've experienced it, but also engaging with people who have maybe differing opinions or whatever. Like, just it's so much fun to have these types of conversations. As I always say, usually these are reserved for when you're ripping boxes at the card shops. We've actually taken some time now to tape them, so it'll be fun. So stay tuned for more videos. We've got a lot more to come, especially as cards are released. We'll probably do a postmortem after the first few Prizm boxes have been released too. So stick around. We've got a lot of people to join. There's a long list of people we're going to be bringing on these videos. Stay tuned, like and subscribe, as I said. We'll see you soon.